Most people think the International Space Station has escaped gravity. They see astronauts floating and assume they've left the Earth's reach behind. They are wrong. At 250 miles up, gravity is still at 90% strength. The ISS isn't defying gravity, it is surrendered to it. The station is currently in a state of perpetual freefall. It is falling toward the center of the Earth every single second, but it's moving sideways at a staggering 17,500 miles per hour. This is the delicate dance of orbital velocity. The station moves forward so fast that as it falls, the Earth's surface curves away beneath it. This creates a perfect balance, a centrifugal counterweight to the Earth's pull. But look closer at that piece. It is an illusion. Inside that 450-ton frame is enough kinetic energy to vaporize a city. We call it the horizon's edge, and today the dance stops. Imagine a ghost hand reaches out and grabs the station, a sudden catastrophic loss of velocity. In an instant, inertia becomes the enemy. Inside the modules, everything not bolted down, laptops, cameras, water droplets, and human beings, continues traveling at 17,500 miles per hour, while the walls stop. In the physics of the stop, the interior of the ISS becomes a blender of high-speed projectiles. The massive trusses, designed to hold solar arrays in a weightless vacuum, are suddenly asked to support 900,000 pounds of dead weight. They don't just bend, they shatter. The mechanical collapse is instantaneous. As the station loses its forward momentum, the sideways motion that kept it safe vanishes. Earth's gravity ceases to be a partner. It becomes a predator. The ISS begins to drop from 400 kilometers up. In the vacuum of the upper thermosphere, there is no air to slow it down. There is only a terrifying, silent acceleration. At first, it's eerie. No wind, no sound, just the altimeter spinning backward. But as the station hits the first molecules of the atmosphere, the physics change. The ISS was never meant to be an aircraft. It is a collection of pressurized cans and fragile wings. As the air thickens, the station begins to tumble. The solar arrays, the size of football fields, acts like broken sails, catching the thin air and whipping the modules into a chaotic aerodynamic nightmare. Now comes the wall. As the ISS plunges deeper, it isn't just rubbing against the air, it is compressing it so fast that the air molecules themselves turn into a superheated plasma.
3,000 degrees Fahrenheit. The temperature spikes. The aluminum hull, the very thing keeping the vacuum out, begins to liquefy. The peeling, layers of the station's skin are stripped away like an onion. The breach. The life support oxygen tanks reach their failure point. They don't just leak, they explode, adding internal pressure to the external incineration. The ISS isn't just falling anymore. It is a 450-ton meteor made of human ambition, dissolving into a trail of white-hot debris.
Not everything burns. The high-density components, the titanium docking ports, the heavy engine housings survive the fire. These fragments aren't just falling, they are traveling at supersonic speeds. When these pieces strike the surface, they release energy equivalent to a localized kinetic bombardment. This isn't a crash, it's a cratering event, a permanent scar on the geography of our planet, marking the spot where our greatest achievement returned to the dust. We live under a reign of fire that hasn't happened yet. Every day, the ISS balances on a mathematical wire, held up only by its own incredible speed. It is a reminder that the line between the pinnacle of civilization and a catastrophic falling star is exactly 17,500 miles per hour.